Well, welcome back to the Unmask podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Kaylee.
And we're here today with Laurie and Wayne. They're the owners of the Sunshine Pottery Studio. And we're talking today about the art of presence. I always thought, like, we were here, me and my friends actually, a couple weeks ago, and we took a pottery class, and it really humbles you. If anything, like you think you can come in here and spin something on a wheel, and it really just made me go like, I just kept having to laugh at myself, drink another glass of wine, and be
Either
like,
that or it's been thrown on the wall.
exactly. It was so nice. So I even have a couple pieces. If you can see how it went. That one piece didn't make it. We just won't show that. This is the first thing that we made that was decent, but didn't have the bottom stick. But you know what? We went through with it, so we had something to bring home.
I love the color. That's
I
my
know,
favorite
right?
color. That
That's
like dark
beautiful.
emerald greenish.
Mm-hmm. And then I made this little vase. I don't know. I put some dried flowers maybe in. It's a pregnant vase.
I was gonna say she's pregnant. She's expecting.
But it will hold water. So it is a win in my book. But it was such a great time to come here and be able to be present, because there's nowhere else you really could focus except for right here in front of you. Because if you were, the wheel would take it away from you. Mm-hmm. And so that's what really brought me to thinking in having you guys on the show, was to showcase more of the art side of, that helps mental health, but in the sense ourselves, keep us present, grounding us, especially for like, I have ADHD, and you get hyperactive sometimes, and sometimes we just needed things to take us out of our head and into our body, and I feel like this is definitely something that constitutes as that, and I feel like you guys have such a great vibe here and such a calm presence that it's like you're very intriguing. I know there's got to be more behind that what you show, because it takes very intelligent people to, I feel, be able to help others discover their creativity, as well as patient people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nurturers.
Thank you.
Nurturers.
Thank you very much.
And we need more people like you guys, where it's so easy for us to get so stuck in our own wants and needs, and people feel, I feel like a lot of people need a vehicle outside of themselves, and it's getting harder and harder today to do that, because everyone goes to work, they're overstimulated, they come home, they're on their phone, overstimulated, so it's like they don't have the energy to actually go out and do something anymore. Like, I talk to people who are like, I'm not doing anything, I'm staying home, I'm not going out, I don't want to see people. So I feel like this is definitely one of those avenues that you could get a little bit of all that without much of the negative. So let's start with this. How did pottery find you guys?
How'd you start?
Well, I started doing pottery when I was in college, and I was really interested in studying photography at the time, but they required us to also take a 3D art. And I had never worked with clay before, so I thought, well, this is an opportunity to try something new. And I foolishly also thought that it would be very easy. But as we all know now, it is not as easy as it looks.
So. This looks good, but trust me, this took so long.
That's how I started working in art, or working with clay, I should say.
And how about you? Is it because you guys met that you got dragged into it with her?
Yeah, so Laurie and I have been married 20 years and together for 24 years nearly. And I would say pretty much right away, she was like, you got to try this, you got to do this. And I am super type A. Do not like to fail at anything. So it took me about 17 years before I actually tried it.
Oh wow!
When we opened up the shop, Laurie was still teaching as a school teacher, and it was COVID, so I came up and opened up, but nobody was coming in during the daytime. So I figured, what the heck? Nobody's here to see me fail. I'm going to give it a try. And honestly, now I wish I had been. I just listened to my wife, which you're supposed to do anyway, they say, and right. And I wish I'd been doing it now for the whole 20 years, because it's an amazing release. It's amazing to once you get through the frustrating part in the beginning and you stick with something. And that's one of the other things that I'm very much like. If once I start something, until I get it, I don't stop. It's the way I am. And now it's really the most relaxing. Only time I can actually relax is when I'm working with clay on the wheel. So it's pretty cool, yeah.
And why do you think that is? What do you think it has brought to your life that other like options or opportunities out there to like, get your frustration out, to like working out, running, or why is this better than that?
Sure. So I used to work out a lot actually, and then when I was around 24 or so, I ruined. I was lifting, and I tore some rotator cuff muscles in my shoulder, and I can't lift the bar actually anymore, like when I'm working out. So I don't work out anymore. I do walk and run a little bit here and there sometimes, but mostly it's. I'm just a physical kind of person. I like sports. I like all those kind of things that are, I guess normal in life. But when you're working with clay, first of all, you use a lot of muscle. As you know, you found out how much, like, you don't realize how strong you really have to, you be and work with your arms and shoulders. And it can be also, you can get a workout with it if you do it enough. And so when I throw, I'll usually throw for an hour or two straight, and I might throw 40 cups or 40 bowls or something like that. And when you're done after throwing that many, you get both a feeling of a physical tiredness, but you also have, because you have to focus so much, you have to really, it's an emotional draining as well. And you just totally kind of zen out and relax. And it's an amazing feeling.
No, I love that, because honestly, I just went up to Lockett Meadow yesterday. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's where all the aspen trees turn gold up near
very
Flagstaff. Cool. It's like northeast of Flagstaff, like 2.5 hours, just outside of Flagstaff. But anyways, it's also a 3-mile hike each way.
Oh, wow.
So you're just surrounded in these pine forests, and then you just see gold going up this mountain.
Wow.
And then you finally get to this meadow where it's just all these trees turning gold and stuff. And it really got me to thinking, it's like I haven't pushed myself that hard in a long time, because it was 3 miles uphill that way,
That's
it took us an hour and a half, and I was just like, what am I doing? I was like, no, it's worth it. It's gonna be worth it. And the payoff was worth it. And it's just like, it brought me to this idea of like cheap, easy dopamine. Like, we go to the gym, we do something to like pump ourselves up, and then you're on with your day, but you didn't really gain anything.
Right.
You didn't really accomplish anything. And what was lasting for me was the idea, like, you went and accomplished this. You have something to show for it. You have all these pictures that no one can just go to. And that's like lasting dopamine. Like, you have a creation or something like that.
A memory.
Exactly. But it's also like the sweat that you put into it. It's like I exhausted myself going into there, and it was almost a spiritual experience in itself, to really test yourself, to push yourself, the discipline, the determination, and then to have the payoff, and then just to see all the stuff you learned through it, to have that self-awareness was really beautiful. And it really showed me like stuff like this, where I see where it lines up, and it's like you really put your heart and soul, sweat and tears into everything. And it's like it exhausts you spiritually, physically, mentally. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I'm so much better for it though.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like we too often stay in our comfort zone. And by that, we don't grow in our comfort zone. So we don't learn new things. We don't learn how we are. So that negative self-talk that can sit up there can just keep repeating itself until you take yourself and prove yourself wrong.
Right. Yeah.
One of my favorite, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, please.
One of the girls who started out with us, she had never done pottery before. She works as a project manager. Had always said she had been pushed into like STEM careers, STEM classes, things in school. And so she had this conception of herself that she wasn't creative. And so she started out with us with like a one-time pottery class. She really liked it. She came back, she did another one-time one with some friends, she did another one with her now husband. And she eventually ended up doing some 5-week classes. She now does open studio, and she throws amazing and beautiful things. And the nicest compliment I think I ever received from anybody was she said that it was because of her time here at the studio that she learned that she really is a creative person. It was something she never believed about herself until she tried it. And I thought that was just so beautiful to know that, we had a hand in that, and it in some way changed her life for the better.
I hear that a lot from people. People just say, oh, well, I'm not a creative person. I'm not good with creative stuff. But I feel like it doesn't matter what you're doing. You don't have to be a master person, painter, whatever you're doing. Just creating something, there's something so healing.
Right. We think
you're so proud of yourself.
Exactly. We think creativity means art, but it's not. It's like anything. Anything can be art. Creating is art. art.
Yeah,
You
that is
know, and I
art.
think that's where we get confused. Is like I try to ask people, what do they like to create? What do they like to do for fun? And they can't tell you. You know, I go to the gym, I watch TV, I go to work, like I hang out, I go out, I drink, like all that stuff. And it's like, okay, but you're not creating, you're just consuming. And you wonder why you're always sad and why things don't make sense. It's like, because
And
you're
why
not
you're always drained when you're just
exactly.
consuming.
But
That's all.
creating is to put something out into the universe that no one else has done out of your perspective, you know, that no one else has a perspective that you do. You know, so it's really cool to see what people can do when you just put your mind to it, like cooking, you know, or even like this, doing a podcast, having certain guests on, what we're trying to show, what we're trying to like air to the world. That's creating, that's creativity, you know. And I used to think the same. I was a STEM kid my whole life, and I was just like, I'm not creative, I don't know what to do. Like I know I'm logic, like that's all I used to think. And it was the belief, you know, the confidence that anything is really creativity if you just let yourself flow and do it.
I think coming from, I was a public school art teacher for many, many years. And so when people come to me and tell me that they're not creative, like there's this like mama bear part of me that wants to go, honey, who hurt you? Because I feel like that's not something that you're intrinsically born with. I feel like that's something that was put on you as a, maybe even as a small child. And I think that's such an unfair thing to tell people. And so I feel like our mission is to really, like, as you said, encourage people to try new things. And it doesn't have to be art, just anything, writing, singing, dancing, all of it is art. Just expressing yourself and just giving yourself the freedom to try these new things is so important.
Yes, I love that you were an art teacher. So I love anything where I can use my hands, anything creative like that. And so art class, I struggled in all my other classes trying to focus and whatnot. But art class was my favorite class, not just because we kind of got to goof around, but because, so I grew up in a very authoritarian, narcissistic household. And so I really did not have any autonomy over my own body, what I believed, my thoughts, nothing. And so art class was the first time where start to finish, it was my thing. No matter what we were doing, I was in control. I got to pick out what it looked like. I got to, all the little details, that was all me. And there was something so healing about that. And it actually made me go into culinary school because something with just using your hands and being able, it's like your baby, you know, start to finish. You are in control. You decide how it turns out. It is literally, you're giving a piece of yourself and creating a whole new thing. And it was just so healing for me to have that just kind of freedom and to be able to just flow and do what I wanted to do. And so I love that. I think I really wish we had more classes in school that were like that, where kids could really be hands-on and use those different parts of their brain. I think that's awesome.
It makes me think, like, even growing up, we always used to hear about people voting down arts and all that stuff. Growing up, like, then so many inner city places got their arts restricted in Chicago, New York, and stuff like that, because they're like, oh, we can't fund this. We don't have time for it. STEM is the future. This is where we got to press kids. And so I see that. Like, that's how I felt. Like, growing up, I went to Catholic school, but I feel like art wasn't really driven down our throats. You know, it was just kind of like an option. You could take art class. You didn't have to. It was an elective. Like, I was never made to take art class. We had art hour in homeroom or something like that growing up as a kid. We made like the popsicle glue thing, cotton balls and stuff. But I don't really remember making much art. Like, and it's really like, maybe that's why I was thinking that, you know, because that's how I was bred. And I never really think, I can't recall someone being like, no, you can't do this. But it's like, if it's not nurtured, you don't think you can do it. You're like, oh, that doesn't exist. No, sorry.
Or if you do it once and you don't like how it turned out, or someone makes a comment that they don't like it, that's shame, especially if you're a kid. Literally stick with your subconscious.
And that's why, like you say you're a type A person. And like I said, this humbles you. Like, I was laughing at myself, and you guys had to help me start a lot of this. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? Knowing how hard this was, I'm happy with what I was able to accomplish. I'm glad I didn't give up. I'm glad I still persevered, even though it's not great. But now I have a launching point from next time I do it. You know, now I have more knowledge, and I know where I can do and where my strengths aren't, you know, and stuff like that. So it's like people that are afraid. I mean, we need ways to express ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like the government doesn't really want that, you know,
Yeah.
per se.
Self-expression is very
They want,
limited.
they want sheep that produce money
Correct.
for them,
That's
you know,
correct.
that
Yeah.
continue to do that. And
100%.
you know, as we're seeing now, it's like self-expression is being squashed out. Well, at the same time, we are supporting it, which is
Right.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's like a converse thing. I think it's like, as I thought, what do they call, like almost like an extinction effect?
Yeah.
When something goes extinct, it gets even louder.
Extinction burst.
Sure.
Is that the
Yeah.
burst?
Yes.
Yeah.
Extinction burst.
It's like things get louder before
Yeah.
they go away. And I was like, well, it's so loud that people are screaming at us that this is the way it's supposed to be. But everybody else, if you talk to them, they're like, no, we want it this way.
Yeah.
So it's creating such this disconnect, you know,
Yeah.
more so than ever, that it's like everyone doesn't even know where to look.
Right.
And really, where you need to look is just internally and find ways to express yourself, because you shouldn't allow other people to dictate what you feel, how you feel, or how you express yourself. If you're being respectful to yourself and others, there's no problem with what you choose to do.
Right.
You know, and I think we have a big problem with that, especially in the younger generation, that it's like they're scared to be themselves because everybody is being bashed these days.
Oh, you'll
But at
be
the
canceled.
same time, only people that are being bashed are the ones that are coming out against others any day. No, you know what I mean? Like the bad people are getting canceled. It literally like flipped within the last 15 years. All of a sudden, it's like the same stuff is happening, but now the reason why people are being ridiculed is different.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. It's like, so there's where you're seeing the change, not in what you're being told. You have to feel it. You have to be in it. What your peers are doing, that's where you need to just copy yourself off and say like, hey, they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
but like I was saying earlier, like I get so combative in the comments with people that love to bash on the stuff I put out there just because they're mirroring their internal struggle. It's just like, oh, you're confidently putting yourself out there. How dare you? In my city, you'd be stoned or shot at. I'm like, well, Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
Well, luckily I'm not in your
not
city.
like, you know.
And also, it's not like, you know, this was a specific event, a specific place, and people love to just put their own lens on things and then project it into the world like it's fact.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you can't do that. And a lot of people just, you know, block those people or they don't allow you to comment. Me, I'm like, no, time for a learning lesson. Everybody in the comments starts reading.
You're gonna learn
Exactly.
No, I love it. I love it when they block me, but all the whole thread is still on my comments, and people are all weighing in, so they can see them and they can see them, but I can't see the guy.
Yeah.
So I've got like one that's got like 150 likes on it for this one thread that I was just going in on this guy because he was trying to bash me. I'm like, that's really sad that you have to bash someone because you're so insecure.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what's wrong with our community, that we're constantly putting others down because we feel they need to be like us.
Yeah.
Or if we feel that we can't be ourselves, we have to bring others down because how dare they have the freedom that I don't have.
Right.
And
Right.
it's all self-inflicted.
Tell
For
them
sure.
to get their ass down to Pottery, get that anger out.
Exactly.
That's
You need to
it.
Get
humble
their anger out on
yourself.
the
That's it.
clay.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I said, this is the fastest way to humble anybody.
Yeah.
And if you see someone storm out of here, you're like, that's an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah,
obviously
for sure.
cannot take any kind of learning. If he's not a perfectionist, he's out of here.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
ever see people like that?
Once in
Like
a
date,
very
like because you guys,
great
like
while.
how we got here was on a Groupon, like a date thing, or like we did it a friend group thing. But I assume dates come in here all the
Oh,
time
yeah.
because
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
for
perfect
sure.
idea.
Yeah, we
Lot of
have a
days.
lot of that. We've never really had anybody. We had two friends jokingly say they were going to disinvite one another to the holidays because one was so much better than the other.
Yeah.
It is funny when couples come in because usually it's the wife's idea, and it's usually like she's super crafty and she thinks she'll be amazing at it, and the husband will just like whip out these huge pieces of pottery like. Do like nothing, and
So
but
the
she starts
nonchalant
to get
attitude.
mad. But I think it's because, and I don't want to say it's for every woman, but I think the one that's having a harder time tends to take it a little more seriously, and they're a little more in their own head about it. The one that's just kind of like, we'll just see what happens. Like they tend to have the most fun. They are more successful because they're just trying stuff and seeing what works.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that either.
No, but that's a great
That's how you
motto
learn.
for life too.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't control everything, you have to be okay with mistakes. You
Yeah.
have to be able to adapt.
Yeah.
You have, and like having that type A, you learn like I can't control everything. Why am I draining myself worrying about everything?
Yeah.
And that's why you need stuff like this to be like, shut up, brain.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I think when I learned that everybody fails at nearly everything we do every day, right? I mean, there's always some kind of, I should have done this or I could have done that better or what have you. Once you realize that, you know, you learn from failure and you learn from mistakes, the only thing you can do is grow, right? And to
Right.
me, that's the most important thing.
People are
learning
so-
and changing.
Yes,
the
but
way
people
you
are so stunted at the idea that they see these people that are winning out there and they don't, they just walked up. They were born this way.
Yeah.
They just walked into it. They were handed this. I was like, no, some people, yeah, acting maybe, but
Yes.
it's still, your prowess has to show
Right.
for itself.
For sure.
You can't just get by on, a favor forever.
Correct.
So it really shows that people do have to fail to become great.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. They think, oh, if I'm bad at it, I'm never going to be good. I was
Right.
like, well, that's the first step.
Yeah.
You have to learn where you stand in it.
Absolutely.
I think too, if you think about little children, like little babies, right? The way they learn is through play. And we
Yes.
get to be a certain age and we're told that we shouldn't play anymore because play is not productive.
Yeah.
But when you're working with clay, I always tell the people in my classes, like, that's how you're going to learn. You're going to mess around with the clay. You're going to make mistakes. Things are not going to go the way that you expected all the time. And that's okay because that's a learning opportunity. Just like when a little kid, knocks over their block tower or something, they're learning cause and effect. They're learning different things. So I think that our society places a really heavy emphasis on constantly having to be productive and I think that's where people are becoming sad and having negative feelings because they don't know how to relax anymore and they don't know how to play anymore.
I love that you brought that up because I'm an adult that feels like not all the way, but like a teenager sometimes, where like I look around at some other adults, I'm like, wow, you guys are really miserable. Like you're against fun, you hate all that, and so I think never growing out of that playfulness. I think that's the key to like mentally staying young.
But see, that's the first way where people don't love themselves.
Exactly.
Is they show that you have to be able to love that inner child and allow it out. And that inner child is always with us.
That's
and people think we grow out of these things. And it's like, no, that's just what somebody told you.
Yeah.
These are all been instilled ideas. They're not your own ideas. They're not true. They're true because you make them true. But that's why you're miserable. Like people are wondering why constantly consuming is not fulfilling them.
Right.
It's like because we're not meant to.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do love this how we are in a very entrepreneurial economy now, almost like that mom and pop economy again.
Sure.
Where everyone's taking it in their own hands online, or brick and mortar if you can, but I really like seeing people finding their paths, and I really hope more people can through stuff like this. It's like we are all here for a reason, and it's our job to figure it out. If you're struggling, you just need to figure out your path. Everyone has one.
Yeah.
You just have to humble yourself enough to be honest and open,
Yeah.
And I feel like avenues like this really help us find our authenticity by humbling us and putting us in positions that we never thought we could be in, or being able to overcome or do something that I was able to do that. So next challenge, I'm not going to shy away from so easily.
Right.
At first I was like, why the hell did you bring us here? Like this is not a fun like Friday night thing, but it became fun. Once I learned to let go and just go with it and stop trying to control everything. So there's such great lessons in learning how to do it. So I really enjoy
learning how to be in control while also letting go of control and trusting because you can't control every single aspect. There are naturally things are going to happen, and so it's humbling, but also learning how to just let life take the wheel sometimes. And whatever happens, I'm going to love it anyways because I created it.
Yeah. Hey, this is a great point to come to next. How has, like, on the entrepreneurial side of things, let's just say, like, how is starting your own business? Now you're in business 20 years, you say?
No.
17?
Oh.
Or just since 2020?
Because COVID for 20 years already?
You've been, sorry, I misunderstood. You've been throwing pottery for 20
I
years.
have, yes.
You've had this place since 2020.
Correct.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you were on the right track with the 20s.
I remember stuff, but in
A
different
lot
orders.
of numbers.
That's fine.
We'll get
I'm
there.
like, I know there's this number.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, what made you open during COVID? Like, what was the deciding factor?
And how has it been, like, as a unit going into business together?
Yeah.
Well, I had actually wanted to open a studio since about 2010. I was teaching art in Florida, and a friend of mine that I'd gone to high school with had reached out to me, and we lived in a very rural community. And she said, my daughters are really interested in some art enrichment. They love it. There's nothing around here for me to take them to. Do you know of anything, being in your field? And I was like, there isn't anything. I could teach them. And so I started giving classes around my dining room table in my house after school to my friends' kids. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I think I want to do this like in my own studio and have my own space and teach what I want, when I want, to who I want, et cetera, and have that freedom. And so it kind of sat there in my heart and in the back of my mind excuse me, for years and years and years. And then when we moved out here, I had worked in the Philadelphia area at some community art centers when I lived there. So it gave me the opportunity to learn more about what goes on with actually running a studio and being able to learn about, development, finance, and scheduling classes, and networking with other teachers and artists and things like that. And then we had moved out here, and I went back in the classroom, and I was really kind of surprised that there wasn't as many opportunities for people to work with clay specifically, unless you go to some of the bigger art centers, but there weren't as many out here as there were in Philly. So I had been kind of nagging him since we moved out here. Like, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. I even went and bought pottery wheels off of Craigslist. Like, we didn't have a studio. I didn't have a plan.
You're just I know if I start, we're going to get there.
Well, I'm just going to get all the things I need to make this happen. And then when the opportunity presents itself, I'm jumping right in. And so I had all this stuff in our storage unit that we're paying to store for years. And finally, we were actually in the parking lot here for a market. And I noticed the space was available, and we love the Melrose neighborhood. And so we went to the lady that was running the market and asked her, do you know anything about this? Because she was a tenant in the same complex. And she's like, no, but the owner's right there. You can ask him. So we kind of hit him up on the spot, like, hey, can we look at this space? And we did like a super fast run through, and then we came back on a Monday because it was my spring break. Yeah. And Wednesday of that week is when they said COVID's a pandemic. So we were kind of on the fence, like, do we go ahead and sign this lease and, hope for the best?
Did you get a discount because of it? You're like, well, hey, since everything's shut down.
No, they made it very clear that you're once you sign it, you're paying for it no matter what. So, I think one of the stipulations we had was we have to wait till they decide whether they're going to shut it down again or not. I think we had to wait a few days for that to come out, and then once they said no, we're going to still be, able to run businesses and things.
I said to him, look, if we do it during a pandemic, because I was afraid if we didn't take the risk that the opportunity wouldn't present itself again. Yeah. So I said, you know what, if we take the risk and we do it and it works out because it's during a pandemic, we're doing what we're supposed to do. Like, this is what we're here for. And so that's why we ended up taking the risk and jumping in and doing it. He's run businesses before. I hadn't. I come to it 100% just from the world of art education. So we have a differing perspective on certain things.
But as you know, that passion is what drives the business.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Because you can tell when people are in it for the money. You're just like, it's cold. It doesn't. I don't like it. It's commercialized. You just feel the emptiness. And here you definitely feel the warmth and the love.
I was literally going to say that it's such just a peaceful, cozy, homey, just set up environment. I love it. It even smells great. Like,
well, we make candles as well, so we do candle making classes.
That'd be fun. What kind of wax do you use? Beeswax?
I usually use soy. Because it's a little healthier, burns a little cleaner.
No, for sure. I heard that they just did a study that beeswax actually cleans the air as it burns.
Ooh,
really?
We'll have to look at that.
Yeah, I just saw a study. I didn't read it too deep, but I
read
the first page. I was like, oh, this looks official.
That's how I do micro-learning.
We do know a beekeeper, so we could always talk to him about getting some beeswax.
Hey, that'd be so cool. You see you have honey, right?
Yeah, is
that his honey?
That's his honey, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
we have a stick of beeswax up there.
Yeah. Infused? What's it infused with?
It depends. It depends what you want.
Oh, you can melt that beeswax to use as you wish.
You could, yes. Yeah, and the honeys are as well. Same.
You've
same
already
thing.
got a
infused with lots of different
friendship
flavors.
going. It
Yeah.
sounds like.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll
it'll work
see.
out well. Yeah. One of the
You
things.
have a ton of stuff.
Yeah, we do.
I love
We're a little bit of everything, right?
And that's what we're all about, supporting our community that we
Yeah.
live in too, and supporting like-minded people and heart-led people, because that's what it's all about. It's not, like I said, it's if you're in it for yourself, it gets really lonely.
Yeah.
You can accumulate a lot of stuff, but you won't accumulate relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where it's at.
Yeah,
And
it really is.
we've always been very strong believers in working with other local artists and other local makers and having them come in and do classes with us or collabing with us. Brian from Twisted Bee Farms, you were just talking about him. We would do collabs with him where you would come in and do a honey tasting and make a mug or make something that's related to bees. We've done things like that before. We have a guy named William who has my sushi party. We do a sushi class where you make your own sushi set. And then you come back after your pieces have been fired and he teaches you to roll your own sushi. And then you can eat your sushi off your plates that you made.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
We love collabing.
I love that because it brings you outside of the norm.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, food is one of those things
You
that
gotta
brings
love
people
food.
together, right?
It's my
And
favorite.
It's an amazing thing.
Always
And
does.
sushi, you either love it or hate it. I think there's no in between on sushi, but more people like it than don't. So, and he actually brings a couple of different kinds of meat, fish. He brings the crab and the that kind of
that's
stuff,
why I
but
probably-
also he brings tuna as well.
That's cool because that's
People that
probably why
don't
it
eat
does
that.
well, or those type of things I was saying, because it's like it's all encompassing. You're learning,
Yeah.
you're learning about something. You're also gaining skills.
Yeah.
You're also immersed in what you're doing,
Right.
and you're eating,
Yeah.
and you're making it. So it's so cool on so many levels.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And that's
Meeting
what I
people.
think a lot of places we're going to in life is like, we give a lot of freebies, but really people want like to be taken out of reality.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like how you say with throwing, it's like
Yeah.
the more experiences that can just disconnect us and keep us present,
Yeah.
people pay for that.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
least
for
that's
sure.
what I pay for it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to realize what's going on
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Like roller coasters are great. Like you can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about not getting sick on roller coasters. That's about all I think about.
I heard this really funny thing.
But life is like a roller coaster, right?
It
So
is.
It sure is.
And it made me
always
think
the
about this
same.
analogy I
Yeah.
heard that said America's like the world's largest escape room.
That's funny.
There's always something new being
Yeah.
thrown at you.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know what
Right.
to do.
Yeah. No, it's so
Just
true.
constant panic.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's nice to have a place that you can go and be peaceful and disconnect and stay present,
Yeah.
learn something about yourself as
Yeah.
well as a new skill.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like,
Yeah.
But that's what I was gonna say. Like relationship wise, do you think this has helped your relationship going into business together?
I think it has. It's everybody talks about the traditional life, and husband goes out to work, and the wife if she goes out to work, it's a separate place. But I think working with Laurie is really strengthened our relationship
Oh, I
100
love
times
that.
over. It's amazing how because I'm very type A and she's not, and we weren't sure how it was going to work out. But as we've told all 6 kids that we have, you have to take chances and see what happens, right? Because if you don't, then the only regrets I have in life are things that I didn't do or didn't try, right? So let's do it, see what happens, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll go and get a regular job, and you can go get a regular job, and we'll go back to what we were doing before. But it's way better working for yourself. In most ways, there are times when it's a struggle, but
It's no longer a 9 to 5. It's a 24/7.
Correct.
Right, yeah,
Correct,
yeah,
yeah.
a lot more mental
Yeah.
stress, but
yeah. But and
That is
in the art
absolutely
world, if you want to be rich, don't get into the art world.
That is
But
also
we do
true.
it because we love people and we want to be around, all kinds of people, and we want to make new friends and have them experience
Exactly.
everything.
You're creating.
Yeah. Be creative, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody can be creative in one way or another. Like it's not,
there's endless things
absolutely.
that you can create.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%. So I think it's brought our relationship much better. I don't know if she would agree. It depends on the moment, I suppose,
Yeah,
right?
the camera.
Right.
Depends on the day.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
For
I
sure.
think-
I get it.
I mean, I think in a business relationship, the same way as in a marriage, like You want somebody who's strong in the areas where you're weak, and you want someone,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
that so that together you're almost like a super person, because you're kind of combining those skills and those talents, and that combination is going to take you further than you could go by yourself.
They're kind of filling in the gaps
Yeah,
of each
for
other.
sure.
And I always try to tell people it's not about somebody who completes you and which makes you codependent on each other.
Mhm.
It's somebody that amplifies you.
Exactly.
You know,
for
that
sure.
amplifies your part
Mhm.
in the world, and
Yeah.
their part's amplified, because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's very clear that you're strong here and I'm strong here, and together we kind of just
Mhm.
make a whole.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
we make a great couple, and that
Yeah.
we can tackle anything together
Yeah.
because you're tackling this parts of life and I'm
Mhm.
tackling this part, or like
Right.
how they come. And
Right.
really, that's a well-regulated,
Yeah.
you know, relationship.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what I think a lot of people think is very turnkey,
Mhm.
and they think they have to be very specific in
Yeah.
what they're looking for in a partner. And I've
Mhm.
been talking about relationships a lot lately on my reels, because it's like everyone's out here expecting somebody to meet them on their level,
Mhm.
but to the key, it's like they have these long lists of what wants,
Mhm.
Right.
and they're like, oh, you don't meet these, and this is now a red flag, so bye.
Mhm.
But really, it's what you work on.
Yeah.
You know, it's what you
For sure.
choose to put your ego aside to
Yeah.
work on the whole.
Yeah.
And you understand that sometimes, you know, you have to give up part of you, in a sense. Like in times, I feel like a great relationship, it brings you both back to each other.
Mhm.
At the beginning, it's not like that. You
Right.
have to you have to cut things and, you know, hold things back for a while to first make a meeting.
Mhm.
A lot of people think, no, you just fall madly in love and everything's perfect from the instant you start. I was like, I've been in many relationships, I've never seen that happen.
Yeah.
And if it has, it lasted 2 weeks.
It's probably love bombing and it won't last long.
Exactly.
That's why the Hallmark movies always cut off like once they kiss.
Right, right. You're
We're
like,
we're done here.
They didn't even make it to the next season,
That's funny.
the next
Oh,
holiday,
that's
right?
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
very
Next
true.
holiday.
Yeah.
No, that's so true, though.
It
And
is.
it's like
It
people
is.
don't feel about all the work you have to put in things. People think they're just owed. They
Yeah.
feel like they just walk into things because
Yeah.
I'm a good person. It's
Yeah.
like, no, but you haven't done any work.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, and how dare you think someone that's done all the work needs
Yeah.
to be your therapist and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see a relationship that works together,
Yeah.
stays together, and then says, you know, we're going to tackle something new because you found out what your particular strengths are that
Mhm.
work well combined.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's worked out really well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm
It shows
very,
you like
very
there's almost
happy.
nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
And like it brings me back to when you said like you might not have had another opportunity over a store. The opportunity you made for yourself. You literally said, today I'm asking.
Yeah.
Today I found a place, and today I'm tired of waiting.
Mhm.
And so that opportunity is always there, and I love showing that. It's because you finally decided this is enough.
Yeah.
And we all just wrap ourselves up in this world, like they always say, the matrix. Like we create our
Yeah.
own matrix. We
Absolutely.
imprison ourselves.
Yeah.
All we
That's
have to
true.
do is have the confidence and understanding that we can have whatever we want,
Yeah.
and you can make it happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
so many people are waiting for the opportunity to come to
Yes.
them, the perfect
I agree.
opportunity to
Yes.
come to them, instead of creating that perfect opportunity for themselves.
But see, you created it because you saw the open door. You saw the cracked door, and you're like, I'm busting this
I'm
wide
coming
open.
in.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
it takes. And that's what I say in a relationship too. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you can't, a lot of people are out there waiting to be discovered
Yeah.
by their Prince Charming or just somebody. I was like, if
Right.
everybody's waiting, who's searching? Nobody.
Nobody.
No.
There is no.
No one's gonna walk. You think some guy just gonna walk in the coffee shop and be like, haha, my pick of the
I mean,
litter.
that's not going to
And
happen.
everyone's like
Yeah.
hiding under their laptops and
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's gonna choose me.
That's funny.
Oh, that's literally how people they put
Yeah,
themselves
no,
out
you're
in the
right.
world, and they meekly just hide
Yeah.
and look, and then
Yeah.
like, are you putting yourself out there?
Right.
You're going out,
Right.
but you aren't
Yeah.
expressing yourself. You're not exposing yourself
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
Like I tell a lot of people, like, just go up to somebody and say, I really like this about you, or like
Yeah.
your watch or something.
Yeah.
It really teaches you to, like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
It's not about
And
you.
it's okay to fail. Like
And
it's
it's
okay if it doesn't work
Absolutely.
It's the
out.
only way you
It's
learn.
okay, right? I mean, you know, the reality is it's not fun to fail, right? But it's part of life, and we all do it every day. So
You know?
if you're gonna do it, you might as well try doing something and
Go big or
and
go
new and
home.
have
Exactly.
And then now you know what not to do.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly,
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's
for
what
sure.
made me think of like the younger generations now, is like they have a tendency to watch experiences and then to be
Yes.
like, oh, I know what to expect. I know
Right.
this.
Yes.
And they get cocky and confident
Yeah.
about stuff they don't even know. I was like, unless you go through it, you don't know.
Right.
Mhm.
Like so many times growing up, people tell you stuff, and like literally the last 5 years, I'm just like, oh, I see what this means now. Oh, this means that's what she meant.
Yeah.
It's like you have to live through it to understand it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just scared and
Yeah.
insecure because they think they know, but then they get out in the real world and they're proven that they don't.
Yeah.
So that people are stuck.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
that a lot right now. And
Yeah.
it's like they're afraid to make a move.
Yeah.
And it's like, but what is this bringing you?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you got to live life. You can't, the phones are great and they're computers, right? And it's a good tool, but we all seem to be living off of those contraptions nowadays, right? And it's I don't know what the percentage is, but it's got to be more than 50% is fake. Everything's either not
Honestly,
real or whatever.
yes.
People are believing the stuff that's on there, and come throw a mug, and you'll find out what real life is like.
No, it's so sad because it's such this shock. They're trying to get you with headlines or whatever they call that.
Mhm.
The shock value of it, and it's like people that look like they know what they're doing, and they're literally just saying opinion that they've decided is fact.
Yes.
My mom sends me stuff all the time. Look what this guy is saying about your Apple Watch. I was like, who is this guy? He's from this company that like does trees or something, does landscaping, and he's got 400,000 followers, and he's like 70, and he's in moderately good shape. He's just walking around, and this girl's like, Jack, what do you think about this? That's all the videos. I'm like, Mom, who is he?
Yeah.
What validity does he have in what he's saying? But like that's what I'm saying. Like unless it's like
it's real.
Yeah, like unless it's like somebody that's tied to their license,
Right.
Don't believe it.
Right.
And now with AI,
Exactly.
it's terrifying.
AI
is
is
the
really
worst.
And even
very disturbing.
And even with
actually.
this, it's like when my coaching, it's like I'm not telling people what to do. I help them find the answers for themselves, and that's what this is. It's like here's the information.
Right.
Critical think and make your own decision.
There you go.
Too many people are being spoon-fed information, and they take it at face value, and it's all fake, and they wonder why they can't make sense of reality.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you keep accepting voices that are not your own,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you keep ignoring your own, and
Yeah.
that's what's causing this split.
No, that's so true.
One of the girls who does Open Studio with us now, she started with us in January, and she said her favorite 2 hours of the whole week was when she would come to her pottery class because she'd put her phone down and she would not look at it the whole time she was in the class.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the really wonderful and beautiful benefits of creating and working with your hands, especially with clay, because your hands are way too dirty. You don't want to touch your phone.
Mhm.
It's
That's
like a
true.
built-in fail-safe. Like
Right.
you're
You
absolutely
can't touch
not
anything else.
going to
Right.
touch your
Yeah.
phone. And it gives you that digital detox. It gives you that little break from the
Yeah.
screen where you're able to just, as you said, just zen out and kind of focus on what you're
Well,
doing.
that's a big thing, a dopamine detox. We're so used to being tick, tick, tick. I need to tick, I need to tick, I need,
Yeah.
like we're addicted.
That's right.
Like no matter what you think is a day. I sometimes I pick up my phone and I'm scrolling like, what am I doing? I'll throw my phone at my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
I
true.
like catch myself subconsciously
Yeah.
doing it. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, we're all addicted,
Yeah.
and it's only driving us crazier. And we
It
need
is.
more instances to put down and to connect and be present.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's what I try to push. It's
Yeah.
like you're worried why things aren't working out. It's because you go do things and you're constantly on your phone trying to see what else is going on.
Right.
Right.
It's like learn to just be present. I used to be that person, like
Mhm.
constantly, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
I think that goes with the ADHD too, but it's also like
Yeah.
now it's creating a society of people constantly needing more dopamine.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
You
that's
know?
absolutely
And we
true.
need to learn to just regulate it for ourselves. And we
Right.
get it through lasting creations,
Yes.
not cheap clicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's where we really, I think, what the biggest thing I heard was like children these days, like a third or 2/3 are on
Oh.
antidepressants. You think a lot are on Adderall, more are on antidepressants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And it's
wild.
just baffling to me.
Yeah.
And it's because they're constantly getting all this information thrown at them
Yeah.
and they don't know how to handle it.
Right.
Their
they're
nervous system is
kids.
overstimulated
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
And if they had art or something to put themselves
Yeah.
and their frustrations into,
Yeah.
instead of, I need to do this, I need to do this. Oh, what about this? I need to be worried about this, because your parents are like that,
Right.
and your families are like, everybody around you is like that. It's
Yeah.
so like, it's sad.
Yeah.
We're just breeding more hamsters.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
very
love
true.
that you can, for whenever you're working with your hands, crafty things, you're taking yourself out of your head. I know I can only speak for myself, but sometimes it can start to feel like a prison up there.
Yeah,
And when you
for
have
sure.
something in front of you that you need all of your attention on, you get out of your head
Mhm.
into reality. You're grounding yourself, touching things, feeling things, smelling things, and you're just able to kind of turn off, even if it's for an hour, 2 hours, and then you can deal with reality after. But for this small amount of time, this is the only thing that matters, and I think that is so necessary.
Yeah,
To just get
I
that,
agree.
that almost force yourself to take a break.
Yeah.
And turn off.
But that is the break. You have to turn off. You can't take a break and watch TV. You can't take a
Right.
break and lay down
Yeah.
and flip on your phone.
Yeah.
That's totally like an oxymoron.
You're still stimulated.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, it's like what we said, like you have to exhaust yourself
Yeah.
being present.
Yeah.
And then you
Right.
feel like this whole, all that frustration just melts away and you're like, what was I so crazy about?
Yeah.
It's almost like its own like natural, like, what do I want to say? I was going to say laxative. I want to say relaxant. I want to say relaxant.
We don't want that.
I was thinking like muscle relaxant.
Yeah, it's a relaxation tool, right? I mean, it's a way
Exactly.
to chill and just kind of become one with whoever you want to be, right? And that's the most important thing.
And it's
really,
almost
at the end of
proving
the day.
yourself who you can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well-
We've had a few people. We've a couple of different open studio people have really kind of blossomed in the last couple of years.
sure.
That have, when they first came, they were timid, they were unsure, and a year and a half later, they're, hey, check this out. Like they would never come over and say, look what I made. Now they're immediately coming over to Laurie or I and like, hey, look at this. And then honestly, there's probably about 15 or 20 different relationships and friendships that have happened, not from just people coming in and meeting each other and learning that everybody's going to fail and everybody's going to succeed at some point, right? And that's
so
really
sweet.
cool.
They cheer each other on.
Yeah, amazing
encourage
stuff.
each
Yeah,
other.
it's really cool.
Oh, I love that glaze you used. What was it? Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But going back to what you guys were saying about the screens and the kids, as a teacher, it's something that I really noticed a lot because I had taken about a 5-year gap from being in the classroom when I worked in community arts. And the kids that I left to the kids I came back to in that 5-year gap, it was such an amazing shift.
Was this through COVID?
No,
not even. I'm sure that's
Before,
even
it was
crazier.
before
It was
COVID.
before.
Yeah, well, COVID
So
changed everything, didn't it?
when I first started teaching, it was 2006 when I was first in the classroom, and when I left the classroom was 2022. And in the interim, as I said, I worked in Philly for a while, but I wasn't in the classroom. But from 2012, when I left the classroom, to 2017, when I went back, the attention spans of the kids, the fine motor skills of the kids,
Yeah.
night and day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was very insistent that, because they're always having these professional developments where they want you to incorporate technology in your curriculum, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And I always would go and I would listen with one ear because I was like, my classroom is the only place where they don't have to have a screen. I want them using their hands and I want them using their imagination. Yeah. And what I noticed a lot is in that little span of time that I wasn't in the classroom is when iPads got really big and, screens for screens were being made for younger and younger and younger kids.
Exactly.
And, when I was teaching, back in the late, 2010s, if you will, my kids' favorite thing was like if they finished their work early and I would like put just like a big old box of construction paper and some string and some tape and some glue. And I'd be like, you can make anything you want. They were like, oh, anything? Yes, anything. Oh my gosh, it was the best day. When I had kids, once I came back in the classroom, I tried that and they were like, but what do I do? You can make anything you want, but what do I do? Like that whole initiative was so different to me compared to when I left. And so for me,
well, it's because, like I said, sorry to interrupt. It's almost like they learn through watching other people do it. So if they haven't, it's like they don't know. And it's crazy. Like I was like, why don't you do like I learned by doing, I feel a lot of us learn through going through it. But it's like a whole generation that will not do it. They'll just see like, oh, I don't need to do that.
Well, I think it became really easy for parents because all they had to do was give them a screen and they didn't have to parent anymore. And I was a professional soccer coach for 20 years and one of the things I noticed at roughly the same time that Laurie was dealing with the teaching things is, kids lost the ability to, I mean, they're not physically active at all. I stopped coaching about 3 or 4 years ago now, but, and the parents actually couldn't deal with the frustrations of games or practices or what have you either. And it became intolerable, honestly, but it's amazing what happens in the world with,
I
the lack
just
of
saw a
parenting.
study that obese kids outnumber a lack of obese kids now
Really?
in America.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
That's a
That is
shame.
Like it just
that's
tipped over.
that's terrible. I mean, we don't personally. I mean, we let our kids use an iPad or video games once in a while, but we don't give our kids phones until they're in high school. So they have to be a freshman in high school to get a cell phone, and we feel like it's a benefit to them.
No, yeah, there's a difference between having like an emergency like kid phone
Correct.
that you can dial
Yeah.
emergency numbers
Absolutely.
and a cell phone.
Correct. Yeah.
Even nowadays, you see a lot of people like my age. They're going backwards. They got their flip phone and they've got their laptop,
Yeah.
and they don't cross the two. They're like,
Right.
This is my work time. This is my online time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just disconnecting
Yeah.
and just reverting almost.
Yeah.
A lot of
For
like
sure.
the 25
Yeah.
to 40-year-old
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
A lot of that are like just
Well,
disconnected.
one
I
thing
agree.
that so I have a son who's 11, and one thing that is so important to me, instilling in him is imagination. That's all.
Mhm.
Yes.
My imagination is something that I pride myself on.
Mhm.
Ever since I was a little kid, I could spend hours by myself, just in my own
Mhm.
world, making things in my room, just playing by myself. Whereas nowadays, that's very rare, very
Yes.
uncommon
Yeah.
for children to do.
And that's pretty much what you noticed.
Yes.
Yes.
Lack
Right.
of imagination.
Right.
And so that's something I really like. I will force him, sit with it and think anything. You could do anything, make up
Right.
any scenario in your head, any type of game. And it really takes some work, but I mean, you can get there.
Yes.
And now he has a great imagination, but I never realized how much of a rare skill that is nowadays is simply your imagination, which is completely free to use.
Yeah.
It is ever expanding. You can never, there's no amount of storage that you can fill up. So, I mean, just your imagination is priceless to me.
It really is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
so true. That's so true.
And it's really not that hard. You just don't overthink yourself. It's like,
Correct.
what's the first thought you have?
Yeah.
All right, and go from there.
Yeah.
Don't hinder your thoughts.
Right.
Like when we
Yeah.
overthink, we're like,
Sit with
stop.
your
No,
thoughts.
Right.
we overcorrect
Yeah.
our thoughts.
Right.
And we don't,
Yeah.
we say, no, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
And that's where your imagination is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The things you keep sweeping away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like with the writers that they tell them just write,
Mhm.
Right.
just write. Don't think it, just write it. Whatever comes out, and then you can edit it later. I know there's a special name for it, and I can't think of it, but that's kind of what you're saying. Like just start making anything, anything,
And then
just
something
try
will
it.
flow out
Yeah.
eventually.
Something will happen. You figure it out.
Yeah.
You can refine it later. It's just getting those ideas out.
That's what I've noticed in like entrepreneurial shit. You
Yeah.
know, you have ideas, you try to go through with it, and like that may lead to a dead end, but it opens up another door.
Correct.
You know, and you learn to pivot. It's like that's
Mhm.
how you learn and
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lots
For
of
sure.
pivoting.
I think that
Mhm.
that the whole, we kind of touched on this earlier, where anything artistic, creative, it kind of gets not swept, or I guess it does kind of get swept under the rug, but also people don't take it as seriously. They kind of demean it, and it's not as important as some of the other stuff. Whereas for me, someone that much prefers that side of my brain, using the artistic things, for me, like that is so, having that artistic outlet where I can just use my imagination, be playful, and just, I don't even have the right word for it, but it's just so healing for me. It's so important. And so I'm so sad that things like that get underfunded, or people say, oh, that's not a real career, that's not a real degree, or
Right.
that's a waste. Do something productive.
Mhm.
I mean, look around. This is.
But now you see it. It's like people ingrained us to think that way, because if no one does the lackey jobs, the economy collapses.
Exactly.
We have to keep making more jobs that we have to keep taking, because if we
Yeah.
have more people just working for themselves,
Yeah.
not worried about money, then it kind of just all falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how you look back once you get older, you're like, damn, we're all a product of marketing.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. For
Schools
sure.
were
Yes.
schools were created by the Rockefellers
Yeah.
back in the
Colleges.
whenever,
Yeah.
because they
Yes.
wanted a workforce. School
Mhm.
is not
even
intended to make you
elementary
creative.
school. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
no,
it
these
was
are the
designed-
topics I love.
These are the
Yeah.
things they wanted you to do. Stand in line, sit, be
Yeah.
quiet. They're
Yeah.
training you to
Yeah.
be a workforce. They're
Mhm.
not training you to use
Mhm.
your imagination. They're not training you to problem solve.
Be
Right.
Think
patient
for
from 8
yourself.
to
Yeah.
4 every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
what it was created
See,
for.
that's so crazy. And
Yeah.
it's like, no wonder people don't want to trust what they're being told, is because no one's ever had their best interests at heart.
Right.
It's always
Exactly.
been the elite's interest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't have Van Goghs, and you wouldn't have Monets, and you wouldn't have, Bob Ross, and you wouldn't have,
Exactly.
musicians.
banana
you
on the
wouldn't
wall.
Have, hey, Andy Warhol, was like, and we know a guy that actually was friends with Andy Warhol. His wife worked for Andy Warhol back in the day. And he would tell, he was a unique dude. Like, he was an incredibly unique man, and he loved starting like little, like, oh, this guy said this about you, and this guy said this about you, and he would start little things at his parties and just have a fun time with it, just pushing people. And if you don't have people like that, like, they didn't follow the strict line, right? They went and did what they wanted to do, or they were creative, and that's what you can become. I mean,
Oh, yeah, art's about pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It comes
Absolutely.
from oppression.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
bursts out of you
Music,
because that's what muses you.
We just went and saw Paul McCartney. He's 83 years old, still playing. Like, imagine if he didn't, become one of the Beatles, and we wouldn't have that, right?
Exactly.
So it's pretty amazing.
Well, that leads me to one of my final questions: is that if you guys weren't in pottery, where would you be?
That's a good
Like,
question.
what was your
I'd
original plan?
probably still be coaching,
I'd probably still
which
be
I
in
do
the
miss.
classroom.
I don't miss the parents, but I miss the coaching.
age
I'm being
group?
on the field. I did everything from right around 5 years old all the way through to professional.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My favorite was probably 11, 12, right before the tween kind of rough time, and then after that, I enjoyed working obviously with pros. It's a different level of play, right? It's
Well, now
it's
you're
exciting.
a clay coach.
Yeah, that's it.
A
Yeah.
real coach.
And I've actually had people, believe it or not, I mean, I'm pretty high strung, and people have said to me, man, you're so relaxed, and you're so, like, you give such confidence and this and that. And I'm like, well, thanks for saying that, because I don't hear that too often. So
Awesome, though.
it is cool that I've helped, people become a little bit more confident and giving them the oomph or whatever they needed to get through the frustration, because it can be very frustrating when
It
you're
is.
learning anything new, right?
Exactly.
Whether
There's
it's
enough
an
of this.
instrument or pottery or whatever.
Very much so.
Yeah.
There's enough of this world tearing us down for every choice we
For
make.
sure.
We need more
Absolutely.
people like you that help boost people
Thank
into
Yeah.
new opportunities for
Yeah.
themselves.
I learned most of it from her, so.
Yeah, if we can just instill self-confidence in people
Yeah.
and self-love, like people,
Yeah.
like,
That would fix so many problems.
so
It really would.
most problems, I
Yes.
think almost all
Yeah.
problems.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're nearing the end. If you guys, so what kind of classes do you offer? Let's promote you a little bit.
Yes, tell
Like,
them.
this is your
Where
part
can they
to
find you?
talk about your business, where to find you, what your hours are, what classes you offer, all that good stuff.
Well, at the moment, we are currently in our Melrose studio. This studio houses most of our pottery wheel classes. We also offer hand building classes. We have everything that you need to get your hands dirty, whether you want to just scratch it off your bucket list or you really and truly want to learn it and become a ceramic artist. We have 2-hour intros to the pottery wheel that are offered multiple times a week. And then we also offer a 5-week class called Forms That Function. And each week we focus on a different form, hence the name. And those are pretty popular for people that want to really kind of get into it. We also offer Open Studio for people that have already taken some of those classes and want to continue to grow in their pottery experience. We offer Next Level Pottery for people that have completed that and want to move on and learn how to do closed forms and lidded vessels and things like that. If they want to get a little fancy, we can get fancy. We have sculpture classes that are taught by Mark Quinto, who's a conceptual artist, beginners through advanced. We also offer other classes. We do candle making, we do chunky knit blankets, we do paint and sips.
Oh, wow. All the stuff.
Gosh,
we
I
do-
know, I'm like, I'm gonna be back.
Oh, yeah, you got
And
lots
our
of
paint-
stuff.
our-
I love that.
Our paint and sips are pretty cool because we almost always do artist themes. So we do a
Yeah.
Bob Ross night. Everybody gets a wig, and we
Oh,
follow
they're
on
next
his
level.
That was so
videos.
much fun. I
And,
love
and we
Please,
do
let's do
Van
that.
Gogh night, and we have we actually have on the wall right over behind you guys. We have a pin the ear on Van Gogh. So we blindfold you, and you can whoever gets closest wins
That's
a little
so fun.
trinket. And
Yeah,
Monet, everybody gets a beret.
yeah. We try
Frida
to be
Kahlo,
nice.
everybody
They
gets a
were too itchy.
unibrow. So we have a bit of fun.
But see, that's the
and
kind of
kinda
stuff people
cool.
are looking for.
Yeah.
A whole immersive experience.
yeah.
You know,
So
not
it's
just show
It's a
up,
bit of
paint
goofy
this
fun
get
and
out.
have some just an enjoy. And Laurie
Love it.
does the painting classes. She's really a true artist. She can do almost any kind of art in the world,
Thank you.
and she and she.
I see her Frida
she
Kahlo
loved it.
earrings too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot I was
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
that.
She's a big
Yeah.
fan of Frida.
I love Frida.
She's a great
Yeah.
person. She's
For-
a very interesting person.
She's
Yeah,
amazing.
For sure.
And for our Frida nights, which we also have, everybody gets their own stick-on unibrow because,
Okay.
of course,
Yeah.
we do have for people that want to come in and just drop in. We have and just be creative. We have at the studio we have pottery painting, but we also just opened a new studio over at the Christown Spectrum Mall. And so that one, we don't have wheel classes at that one yet, but all our children's programs have been moved over there because it's a much larger space, so the kids can kind of move around a little bit more easily. Still the hand building with clay classes, paint and sips, candle making, all of that's there. And we have a larger selection for people that want to just drop in so they can do the pottery painting. We also have like paint by number kits, air dry clay kits, mosaics, things like that that you can kind of come in and either create in the studio for like a nice date night. You know, we have a BYOB license, bring a bottle of wine, make something cool. So we try to have a little something for everyone.
Yeah, come get your art on, you know.
Yeah,
Indeed.
exactly.
I love that. I like how you're more multifaceted than
Yeah.
just clay. Because if you're
Yeah.
intimidated into that, maybe you'll want to try something different.
Yeah.
And then it'll ease you into be like, oh, I want to try this.
Right.
Yeah.
I really love that. That's
Yeah.
great.
It's
And
fun.
you.
you know, it's all about giving people a way to express themselves these
For
days.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
An outlet. We so desperately need more third spaces and outlets for people.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so glad we came here.
Yes,
It's
thank
such
you
a
so
cool
much
place.
for
Thank you.
inviting us
Thank
to
you
your
so much.
place.
Thank you.
This has been wonderful.
Well,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Thanks for
And
having
definitely.
us on.
Well, that's been another episode of the Unmask podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Kaylee.
And until next time, guys, see ya.